Hey everyone, I'm Naia, your go-to girl for all things funny and cute. And today we have something super exciting lined up. We're diving into the fascinating world of plants and their incredible defenses. Yep, you heard that right. I can't wait to see how these green friends fight back in ways that will totally surprise us. Stick around, because this TED video by Valentin Hammoudi is bound to blow our minds. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to get your plant knowledge on. Let's jump in!
This is a tomato plant, and this is an aphid, slowly killing the tomato plant by sucking the juice out of its leaves. The tomato is putting up a fight, using both physical and chemical defenses to repel the attacking insects. But that's not all. The tomato is also releasing compounds that signal nearby tomato plants to...
This is fascinating. The way plants communicate with each other is like their own secret language. It's almost like a plant version of a neighborhood watch, alerting others to danger. I remember when I had a small garden, and I was always amazed at how interconnected everything felt. It's like they have their own little community.
To release their own insect repellent. Plants are constantly under attack. They face threats ranging from microscopic fungi and bacteria, small herbivores like aphids, caterpillars, and grasshoppers, up to large herbivores like tortoises, koalas, and elephants. All.
Wow, the range of threats plants face is incredible. It's like they're in a constant battle for survival. I can't help but think about how resilient nature is. I once read about how some plants even evolved to defend against specific herbivores. It makes you appreciate the complexity of ecosystems. Plus, can you imagine a tiny plant standing up to an elephant? That's some serious determination.
All are looking to devour plants to access the plentiful nutrients and water in their leaves, stems, fruits, and seeds. But plants are ready with a whole series of internal and external defenses that make them a much less appealing meal, or even a deadly one.
This is so intriguing. The idea that plants can be deadly to their predators is like a hidden world of survival tactics. It's almost like they have their own defense mechanisms, similar to superheroes. I remember reading about certain plants that can be toxic if eaten. It's a wild reminder that nature has its own rules. Plus, it makes me think twice about what I might encounter in the wild.
Plants' defenses start at their surface. The bark covering tree trunks is full of lignin, a rigid web of compounds that's tough to chew and highly impermeable to pathogens. Leaves are protected by a waxy cuticle that deters insects and microbes. Some plants go a step further with painful structures to warn would-be predators.
This is so cool. The idea that some plants have evolved to have painful structures is like nature's way of saying, "Not today, herbivores." It reminds me of cacti with their spines. Definitely not a snack you want to mess with. I love how plants have their own strategies to protect themselves. It's like they have their own version of a do not disturb sign.
Thorns, spines, and prickles discourage bigger herbivores. To deal with smaller pests, some plants' leaves have sharp, hair-like structures called trichomes. The kidney bean plant sports tiny hooks to stab the feet of bedbugs and other insects.
That's wild. A kidney bean plant with tiny hooks to fend off bedbugs? Talk about a plant that means business. It's fascinating how plants have adapted such unique defenses. It's like they've got their own little army ready to protect them. I can't help but think about how creative nature can be. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can pack a punch.
In some species, trichomes also dispense chemical irritants. Stinging nettles release a mixture of histamine and other toxins that...
Stinging nettles are such a perfect example of nature's defense mechanisms. Those little hairs that release histamine can really pack a punch. I remember the first time I accidentally brushed against one. I was shocked at how much it stung. It's like they have their own built-in alarm system. It's amazing how plants have evolved to protect themselves, and it definitely makes you think twice before reaching out to touch them.
That cause pain and inflammation when touched. For other plant species, the pain comes after an herbivore's first bite. Spinach.
This is such an interesting twist. The idea that some plants wait until after the first bite to unleash their defenses is like a clever trap. It's almost like they're saying, "Go ahead, take a bite, but you'll regret it. Take a bite, but you'll regret it." I can just imagine a curious herbivore getting a nasty surprise. It's a brilliant strategy that shows how plants can be both patient and cunning. Nature really knows how to keep things exciting.
Spinach, kiwi fruit, pineapple, fuchsia, and rhubarb all produce microscopic, needle-shaped crystals called raphides.
Raphides sound fascinating. These needle-shaped crystals are like tiny hidden traps waiting to cause discomfort. I can just imagine an unsuspecting herbivore munching on spinach and suddenly feeling those sharp crystals. It's a clever way for plants to protect themselves without being overtly aggressive. It's amazing how plants have evolved such unique adaptations to survive. Nature really is full of surprises.
They can cause tiny wounds in the inside of animals' mouths, which create entry points for toxins.
This is intense. The idea that tiny wounds can create entry points for toxins is a clever, albeit harsh, defense mechanism. It's like plants have their own way of fighting back against their predators. I can't help but think about how interconnected everything is in nature. It's a wild reminder that even the most innocent-looking plants can have a fierce side. It makes me appreciate the complexity of ecosystems even more.
The mimosa plant has a strategy designed to prevent herbivores from taking a bite at all.
The mimosa plant sounds intriguing. Its strategy to prevent herbivores from even taking a bite is such a clever tactic. It's like it has a built-in defense mechanism that says, "Not today." I remember learning about how some plants can respond to touch by folding their leaves. It's like they have a mind of their own. Nature's creativity never ceases to amaze me, and it really highlights how plants have evolved to survive in their environments.
Specialized mechanoreceptor cells detect touch and shoot an electrical signal through the leaflet to its base, causing...
This is so cool. The fact that the mimosa plant can detect touch and send an electrical signal is like something out of a sci-fi movie. It's amazing how plants have such sophisticated systems to respond to their environment. I can just picture the plant reacting in real time, almost like it's saying, "Hey, back off." It really makes you think about the intelligence of nature and how plants have their own ways of thriving and protecting themselves.
Causing cells there to release charged particles. The buildup of charge draws water out of these cells, and they shrivel, pulling the leaflet closed.
That's such a fascinating mechanism. The way the mimosa plant can close its leaves in response to touch is like a defensive reflex. It's almost like it's playing dead or saying, "Not interested. Not interested." I remember being amazed when I first saw this in action. It's a perfect example of how plants have adapted to protect themselves from potential threats. Nature really has some incredible tricks up its sleeve.
The folding movement scares insects away, and the shrunken leaves look less appealing to larger animals. If these external defenses are breached, the plant immune system springs into action.
This is really interesting. The idea that a plant has its own immune system is mind-blowing. It's like they have a whole defense strategy ready to go if their external defenses fail. I love how this highlights the complexity of plant life. It's not just about looking pretty. They're constantly fighting for survival. It makes me think about how resilient nature is, and how every living thing has its own way of dealing with challenges.
Plants don't have a separate immune system like animals. Instead, every cell has the ability to detect and defend against invaders. Specialized receptors can recognize molecules that signal the presence of dangerous microbes or insects. In response, the immune system initiates a battery of defensive maneuvers. To prevent more pathogens from making their way inside, the waxy cuticle thickens and cell walls get stronger. Guard cells seal up pores in the leaves. And if microbes are devouring one section of the plant, those cells can self-destruct to quarantine the infection.
This is incredible. The fact that plant cells can self-destruct to contain an infection is like a heroic sacrifice for the greater good. It's a powerful reminder of how interconnected life is, even at the cellular level. I love how this showcases the resilience and adaptability of plants. They really are the unsung heroes of the natural world, constantly fighting to survive and thrive. It makes you appreciate the complexity of life in ways you might not have considered before.
Compounds toxic to microbes and insects are also produced, often.
This is fascinating. The idea that plants can produce toxic compounds to fend off microbes and insects is like having their own arsenal of weapons. It's amazing how they can defend themselves in such a proactive way. I can just imagine a tiny plant standing strong against invaders with its own chemical defenses. It really highlights the creativity of nature and how every organism has its own survival strategies. Plants are truly remarkable.
Often tailor-made for a specific threat. Many of
Tailor-made defenses for specific threats? That's incredible. It's like plants have their own version of the specialized defense team ready to tackle whatever comes their way. I love how this shows the intricate relationships between plants and their environment. It's a reminder that nature is always adapting and evolving. Just like how we might prepare for different challenges in life, plants are doing the same in their own unique way. Nature is truly a master of innovation.
Many of the plant molecules that humans have adopted as drugs, medicines, and seasonings
This is such an interesting connection. The fact that many plant molecules have been adopted by humans as drugs, medicines, and seasonings really highlights how much we rely on nature for our health and well-being. It's amazing to think about how these plants have evolved their defenses, and we found ways to harness those properties for our own use. It's like a beautiful partnership between humans and plants, showing how interconnected we all are. Nature truly provides us with so much.
evolved as part of plants' immune systems because they're antimicrobial or insecticidal.
This is a great point. The fact that many of these compounds evolved as part of plants' immune systems really emphasizes their importance in nature. It's fascinating how what protects plants can also benefit us. It makes me think about how interconnected our health is with the health of the plants around us. Plus, it's a reminder of the incredible adaptations that have developed over time. Nature really knows how to create solutions that work for everyone.
An area of a plant under attack can alert other regions using hormones, airborne compounds, or even electrical signals.
This is so intriguing. The idea that plants can communicate distress signals to other parts of themselves using hormones, airborne compounds, or even electrical signals is like a plant version of a warning system. It's amazing to think about how they can coordinate their defenses in response to an attack. It really highlights the complexity of plant life and their ability to adapt and survive. Nature is full of surprises, and this just adds another layer of wonder to how interconnected everything is.
When other parts of the plant detect these signals, they ramp up production of defensive compounds.
This is such a clever strategy. The fact that different parts of the plant can ramp up production of defensive compounds in response to signals is like a coordinated defense effort. It's almost like they have a team working together to fend off threats. I love how this showcases the intelligence of plants and their ability to adapt. It's a reminder of how resilient nature can be, and it makes me appreciate the complexity of plant life even more.
And for some species, like tomatoes, this early warning system also alerts their neighbors.
That's incredible. The fact that some plants, like tomatoes, can alert their neighbors about potential threats is like a natural neighborhood watch. It's fascinating to think about how interconnected plants are and how they can support each other in times of danger. It's a beautiful example of community in nature, showing that even in the plant world, teamwork is essential for survival. It makes you appreciate the intricate relationships that exist in ecosystems.
Some plants can even recruit allies to adopt a strong offense against.
This is so fascinating. The idea that some plants can recruit allies to help them fend off threats is like having a superhero team in the plant world. It's amazing how they can call on other organisms to join the fight. I remember learning about how certain plants can attract beneficial insects to help control pests. It's a perfect example of cooperation in nature, showing that sometimes teamwork is the best strategy for survival. Nature really knows how to create powerful alliances
against their would-be attackers. Cotton plants under siege by caterpillars release a specific cocktail of 10 to 12 chemicals into the air.
This is so intriguing. The fact that cotton plants can release a specific cocktail of chemicals to signal distress is like a sophisticated alarm system. It's amazing how they can communicate with their environment and potentially attract predators of the caterpillars. It really highlights the complexity of plant interactions and their ability to adapt to threats. Nature is full of clever strategies, and this just shows how interconnected everything is in the ecosystem.
This mixture attracts parasitic wasps that lay eggs inside the caterpillars.
Wow, that's a wild strategy. The fact that cotton plants can attract parasitic wasps to deal with caterpillar infestations is like nature's own pest control service. Ew. It's fascinating how plants can use their chemical signals to recruit help in such a specific way. It really shows the intricate relationships in ecosystems and how every organism plays a role. Nature is so clever, and it's amazing to think about how plants have evolved these strategies to survive.
Plants may not be able to flee the scene of an attack or fight off predators with teeth and claws, but with sturdy armor, a well-stocked chemical arsenal, a neighborhood watch, and cross-species alliances.
This is such a powerful summary of plant defenses. The idea that plants have sturdy armor, a chemical arsenal, and even a neighborhood watch system is incredible. It really emphasizes how resourceful and resilient they are in the face of threats. Plus, the concept of cross-species alliances adds another layer of complexity to their survival strategies. It's a beautiful reminder of how interconnected life is and how every organism plays a role in the ecosystem. Nature truly is a master of adaptation.
A plant is...
Wow, what an eye-opening journey into the incredible world of plant defenses. I never imagined plants had such complex ways of communicating and protecting themselves. From neighborhood watch tomato plants to the tricky stinging nettles, each tactic is a testament to nature's creativity and resilience. It's like watching a thrilling survival game, where every plant has its own unique strategy to tackle the challenges of the wild. This video really flipped my perspective on gardening and made me appreciate the hidden struggles plants face every day. Who knew they were putting so much effort into staying alive? It's like they have their own version of a superhero team in the plant kingdom. If you enjoyed this exploration into the fascinating lives of plants as much as I did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Join our little community for more quirky and cute reactions to the wonders of our world. Until next time, keep marveling at the intricacies of nature.